Thanks for joining us today. Today at the I9 Sports office, we have a very special guest. His name is Brad Soucie. Currently, he's the varsity head coach at Coastal Christian High School. Welcome, Brad. Can you tell everybody a little bit about your basketball background?
Yes, thank you, Craig. Glad to be here. I've heard a lot of things about I9 Sports and just the great ways that they serve the community, and so it's exciting to, begin a partnership with you guys. My background is pretty extensive, but I played basketball at the high school level, won a state championship there, and then played at the collegiate level. Just played in the NCAA tournament, set an NCAA tournament record for most three-pointers in a first-round game, and then tried to pursue a professional career. I was in NBA summer leagues 2 years in a row with Cleveland Cavaliers and Dallas Mavericks, and just wasn't quite good enough, to make that next jump. And so I actually got into business. Did not have any desire to coach, and I was in business for a few years and got to know this guy who was in college coaching at the time, and he got his first head job. We became friends for about a year. He got his first head job at a Division I school and offered me to come be his assistant,
That's
and
great.
I turned him down. I said, no, I'm kind of pursuing this business thing. And then one of my mentors told me, he says, you have a chance to become a D1 assistant. He's like, go try that, like you can always come back to this.
Sure.
And so literally to this day, his advice helped change, my whole life. And so I went into coaching, coached at the college level for 30 years at Portland State, Oregon State, Colorado State, New Mexico, and most recently, University of Virginia and Liberty University. And so it just some of the best times of my life. Love working with young people, helping them realize their dreams, and then just teaching fundamentals and teaching skills, to young athletes. Just brings me a lot of joy.
It's amazing, and we're really lucky to have the likes of a coach like you with, partnering with our program to offer a few weeks of summer basketball camp starting in June. So we're really excited for that, and I know you've also been a part of helping develop some NBA talent as well. Do you want to mention some names?
Yeah, I mean, I've coached, a player in New Mexico who had a 10-year NBA career, Danny Granger. That was a few years ago. And most recently, Malcolm Brogdon at Virginia, Joe Harris at Virginia, Anthony Gill, who's still in the NBA from Virginia. So it was fun to be with those high achievers and even at that high level and just get a glimpse of what basketball is at that high level and coaching in some of the great venues, Cameron Indoor and the Dean Dome, just fun experiences. And then even being able to be in the NCAA tournament, coaching in multiple NCAA tournaments has just been a lot of fun.
Amazing. It sounds amazing, and I'm sure you have a ton of stories. So, to be honest, Brad, when we're contacted at I9 from somebody maybe outside of our program, it's typically somebody that is looking to take what we do and maybe transform it into possibly a more intensive program or a more specialized program. And so when we initially started talking, I had my reservations, to be honest. But you directed me to your YouTube channel. And I watched a few of the videos and I was really pleasantly surprised that the message that you were giving parents was very close or if not identical to messaging that we supply our I9 sports parents. So we
Hmm.
were aligned on a lot of different ways. So
Hmm.
that's the moment it began to make sense to me that this could be a really good thing
Hmm.
and it could be a great partnership moving forward. And then so I mentioned the 2 weeks of basketball camps that we'll be running this summer at Coastal Christian High School. Can you just give me an idea of how that's going to look and who's going to be helping you out with that?
Sure. I'm super passionate about youth basketball camps, and we try to provide a balance of where the kids are having fun, but then also, they're learning some of the basic fundamentals. And so we have our varsity players, girls and boys, work with the girls and the boy campers, and really just try to create a desire within them for the sport of basketball. Because at some point, like even the NBA players, at some point they started with just, oh, let me try playing basketball. So we always want to try to fan that flame and that desire for the sport. And so it's age appropriate. The older they get, we make things a little bit more challenging, a little bit more competitive. And then we're doing a specialized camp as well, just based on shooting.
Mhm.
And that's going to be a lot of fun because a lot of times young players, when they first learn how to shoot, a lot of times they're shooting, little kids are shooting on a 10-foot rim. And so they're just trying to figure out how to get that basketball way up to that rim. And so they
Right.
create a lot of bad habits. So that end up staying with them. So we're going to break down the shooting fundamentals and just try to help players with their shots and create a really good shot because that's where the game is going now. It's going to the 3-point shot, spread
For sure.
offenses. So the better players can shoot, the more opportunities they're going to have, whether it's junior high team, I-9 team, or even all the way up to the varsity level.
In one of our previous conversations, you said something that definitely it basically reminded me exactly of what we tell our coaches. And we're volunteer based, all of our programs, and we just really promote to them to keep it simple. When you're starting out,
Mhm.
we want to, and whether it's basketball, it's soccer, it's flag football, it's t-ball, volleyball, we have to have that beginner in mind when we're starting out opening day. So you had some advice that you shared with us about keeping it simple. Can you just repeat that? Tell everybody what that was because I think it just helps so much.
I think you're referring to, so about a month ago, I was contacted by a parent
Mhm.
who had signed their 6-year-old up for your I-9 basketball league. And they're like,
Right.
we don't know anything about basketball. We never play basketball. And you just work with them.
Mhm.
And so I never worked with a 6-year-old before. So going into it, I was just like, all right, I want to keep this fun because if he doesn't have fun, then he's not going to learn. He's not going to grow and he's not going to come back.
Right.
But also equipping with some skills to where he's going to be able to build and then at least be somewhat functional in your league. So that's been a lot of fun. I've never worked with somebody that young before, but it's really sharpened my coaching skills because I'm always reading him. And if he loses concentration or loses focus or loses motivation, then that's not necessarily his fault. That's my fault. So keeping it appropriate to where he's learning some basic skills, but we're also having fun. So we do different things. All right, as soon as you make 5 layups, then we'll play tag. He loves to play tag, or we'll have a race, just fun things. And
Mhm.
so the first session went well. And then he wanted to come back and he wants to continue to do it. And so it's been really fun to have fun with that, but also it's been really neat to see his progression to go from never having done anything basketball wise to now he's able to dribble both hands. He's able to run when he dribbles and he's getting better at making shots. And so that's really the gist of where we're at is meeting the athlete at their level, keeping it fun. The
Mhm.
statistics show that most kids choose a sport because they enjoy it, they want to have fun, and then they want to be with friends. So I feel like it's on us as coaches, camp directors, to provide that fun environment, but also equipping them and teaching them things where they can grow in their skills. Because if you have all of one and none of the other, either way, it's not going to end well and it's not going to accomplish their goals. So that balance of fun and fundamentals is important.
It's so important. And no, I appreciate you saying that because like I mentioned, our coaches, it's all volunteer based. So a lot of
Mhm.
parents are starting with us with no coaching experience whatsoever. We provide practice plans and it is scaled to the child's age specifically. And then we also do provide within our program, parents can log into the game day app and there are actually at-home activities that we provide as resources to our parents too, so they can check those out, how to work with their kids, and they don't have to be a
Mhm.
Division 1 basketball coach to do that with them.
Mhm.
But I think it's great that you were challenged by a 6-year-old because it's not
Mhm.
necessarily the realm you've been working with for the last how many years?
30
Yeah,
plus. Yeah.
right.
Mhm.
So, and it just goes back to, I believe the quote you shared with me was simplicity leads to excellence. Is
Mhm.
that right?
Yes.
And we're definitely on the same page with that because if you're just trying to do a bunch of things, you're not going to succeed. Try to cover a bunch, but if you can break it down just a few simple things
Mhm.
and keeping that simple, you can get real good at those things.
Mhm.
So we're really excited to have you come along and partner with us on these basketball camps. It's the first week is June 8th. The second week is June 15th. That's going to be at Coastal Christian High School. Is there anything else that we haven't touched on that we should talk about?
I think as far as parents, part of the reason why I started this business was just from all the years of coaching, I just began to see struggles, the frustration, the challenges that parents had with every parent starts out just they want what's best for their kids. And
Mhm.
if their kids want to be better, they want to play in a sport. You just the parents want to help that in whatever way they can, but a lot of times they're just unsure of what to do, how much to do, what not to do. And so they're getting information from different places, but usually those sources of information have an agenda. And I think one of the things that parents should understand first is especially when you have younger children is play multiple sports. Specializing in one sport at a young age is not going to go well for them. Statistics show that 70% of all youth quit team sports by the age of 12. And you look at what might be those reasons, and a lot of
Mhm.
them are burnout, overtraining, doing too much. So when I was at University of Virginia, we had the NCAA doctors come in and they talked to all of the coaches, and they stressed, please emphasize to the players that you're recruiting play multiple sports for a few reasons. They said one, they're seeing injuries in young people that they never saw before
Mhm.
because kids are just playing one sport year round, so they're using the
Same
same
muscle.
muscles, and they're not getting fully developed.
Right.
I can recall back to when I was growing up, there was far less organized sports than there is today.
Mhm.
But things we would just do in the neighborhood, we would play tag and just look at all the different benefits that you get athletically from just playing tag. Or we would do just organize our own games or different things that we would do. And so the younger play multiple sports. That's where they figure out, oh, I like this one. No, I don't like that sport.
Mhm.
And then I think one of the common myths that parents can get well is well if you don't play travel ball and play it year round, then you're going to fall behind.
Right.
And that's just not the case either because although they may progress if they do specialize and play one sport at a young age, they may progress faster than their peers.
Mhm.
But then when they get older, we get to the high school level, that drudgery, that burnout might start to creep in. So now they're not as excited about playing the sport. They're not as excited about getting an extra work to be better because they've done it so much. So there's a fine balance of when you play multiple sports, it helps develop your body physically and athletically, but it also just keeps things fresh. When I was growing up, I played three sports all the way through junior high:
Mhm.
basketball, soccer, and baseball. And although I love basketball the most, I enjoyed soccer, I enjoyed baseball,
Mhm.
and I even kept playing soccer through high school. And I can just remember just the freshness that after playing another sport, when you come back to basketball, there's just a freshness and an excitement. And so that variety is really key. And even college coaches, Tom Izzo that coaches basketball
Mhm.
at Michigan State, he's even said is that we prefer multiple sport athletes when we recruit because it does a number of things. But I think it just encouraging, especially younger, you try different sports, and then maybe when you get to the high school level, you can narrow down a little bit. But just keeping it fun, keeping them engaged in the long run, that's what's going to help your young athlete to have an enjoyable experience, but then also be able to be their best.
And I agree 100%. Just based off of my own experience, I loved football growing up. I played most of it. It was backyard stuff, but basketball was the number one.
Hmm.
And then that just became the only thing I did. And it wasn't pressure from parents or anything else. It was me
Hmm.
thinking, like, that's the one I'm best at. So that's the one I have to do over everything else.
Hmm.
So I dropped everything else,
Hmm.
just focused on basketball. And it got to a point where I was playing in 5 leagues at once, and it became more of a job and it was
Hmm.
less fun. And
Hmm.
the love that I once had for the game so much just slowly dissipated,
Yeah.
and I began to resent basketball practice.
Hmm.
And so I can speak on it from a personal level. I think it happens a lot.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, I think promoting multi-sport athletics is an amazing thing for most kids. And then once they do get old enough to say, all right, I'm going to focus on this one
Hmm.
thing, that's up to them. But below the age of, below high school age, really, I
Hmm.
don't really see the benefit in just specializing in one
Hmm.
thing unless you want to resent that one sport early.
Yeah,
So,
and we're kind of getting into an area that I've just been doing some recent research on, and it's been fascinating. Is we see that there's basically three different stages that young athletes can progress to, or they don't have to progress to all three, but there's basically three stages of where athletes are in their athletic journey.
yeah,
The first one is the fun stage, where most kids pick a sport because they think it's going to be fun and they want to be with their friends. And it's important for parents to know what stage their child is in for each sport. The second stage is improvement. That's where they go from it just being fun and they want to hang out with their friends to, hey, this guy's a little bit better than me. I want to get better. Where they start to desire some improvement.
mhm,
Maybe they start to shoot some baskets in their driveway, or they do some things on their own outside of
sure.
practice or games they're seeking to get better at.
Mm,
And then the third phase is where it's more competitive, where they're trying to pursue being the best that they can be. And so, as parents, it's really key for the parent child relationship to know which phase their child is in, because it requires different verbiage from the parents, it requires different levels of support. And where we see a lot of conflict, because one of the other passions that I have about parents and youth sports is I've just seen over the years where parents are spending so much time with their kids in youth sports today. You're gone weekends and you're traveling, even driving to and from practices. That's time with them. And a lot of times sports can drive that relationship away or create friction in that relationship. And so there's so many ways that parents can use that time, use sports to draw close to their child. But one of the main ones is just letting it be their journey, first of all. Parents can get or like their child's playing the sport that they played and they can want them to be so good. I want them to
right,
get a college scholarship.
right.
And that's okay. But parents have to understand why their child is playing. So I did a video on my website about helping parents get to know and be on the same page with their children. It's just 5 questions that the parent answers and 5 questions that the athlete answers,
Mhm.
and then you compare them. And any reason that's different that your child has as a parent, you conform to them. For example, if your child is playing basketball because they have fun, they enjoy it, and their friends play basketball, so they're playing it for fun.
Right,
Well, the parent wants them to one day get a college scholarship.
right,
So you can see how those differences, at some point, there's going to be a collision.
for sure.
And so, as parents, it's really important to just let it be their journey and
Mhm.
support and not. And so, there's just some things that parents can be aware of as their child kind of maybe desires that next phase. But you don't want to do things from a competitive standpoint. If they're just playing for fun, you don't want to schedule training workouts and let's go out in the driveway and get in 100 shots and those kind of things. So it's really important for parents just to be have that awareness and be more of a support versus a driver, because that's when kids, one of the main reasons that kids quit playing team sports
Mhm.
by age of 12 is because they say it's the relationship that they have with their parents, the famous term the car ride home.
Right,
Your parents don't realize what they're doing because they think they're trying to help, they think they're
right.
trying to connect,
Yeah.
but in essence they're doing damage to the relationship.
It's a major point in that parent-child relationship when they're
Hmm.
playing sports. And I was taught years ago. This is before I even I-9, when my son was younger, and it was less of, "Hey, I'm not gonna focus on maybe what went wrong. I'm just gonna ask him if he had fun today," and because
Hmm.
that is the most important part of
Hmm.
it. And then advice I was given a while ago too was, "All right, you can take whatever happened in that game that day." And
Hmm.
you can then say, all right, maybe the next day, maybe a couple days later, "Hey, let's go out in the yard and let's try catching a few pop flies, or let's
Mhm.
try hitting some free throws, or whatever it
Mhm.
is, so that you're not putting the pressure of that, whatever just happened then,
Yeah.
on them and making them feel bad about the experience they
Mhm.
just had. And their expectations of what they're there to do
Mhm.
might not exactly align with what you think they should be there to do.
Right.
So just having that conflict, and getting in line, or aligning the expectations
Mhm.
with your child on what they hope to get out of the experience is
Mhm.
so important. So
Mhm.
I love that that's a message that you give to parents, because it is so
Mhm.
important,
Mm.
and to help them enjoy their child's experience.
Right. And the other thing too is in sports. Sports is a microcosm of life.
Mhm.
And so in sports, your kid is going to struggle, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Understanding that them struggling, okay, and that can look like they're getting less playing time, or they're not starting, or even though they're playing, but they're not playing well.
Right.
That's struggling, but helping them, not removing them from the struggle, not telling them, oh, you're fine, you're okay, your coach doesn't know what he's doing, or whatever,
Right.
things can come up, is helping them figure that out, because we all struggle in life. There's times where we go through a challenge, whether it's with our job or relationships or whatever,
Mhm.
and they're able to learn these life skills through athletics if they're allowed to struggle. So it's like, if a parent has a child that's not getting a lot of playing time, that's like, well, what does the coach say that you need to do to get more playing time? Or
Mhm.
what can you do to give yourself a chance to have more playing time? Or maybe the child's like, I'm not playing as much, and I don't like it, and I don't want to play anymore.
Right.
But really, that's just they want to remove themselves from the challenge. But embracing those tough times is actually equipping our kids to handle those situations later in life when stakes are a lot higher. So there's so many great things that young athletes can learn through sports. But as a parent, we have to allow them, don't solve their problems for them. I heard a guy, he said a lot of times parents want to solve their kids' problems for them.
Mhm.
And it's even like when they're a baby, you're trying to climb up on a chair. And so a parent will come along and they'll
Whoop.
boost them and help them climb up on the chair. And so
Right.
the kid got on the chair. And so the parents feel good that they helped them.
Sure.
But really, what it's doing, it's not allowing them to figure it out themselves.
Right.
Us helping them can communicate that, hey, we don't think you can do it, so we're going to help you. And so it can take away some of that self dignity that kids get when they face a challenge, figure it out themselves, and then become better from that.
And build confidence.
I played with a player at Eastern Michigan University, and he did not start his first 3 years of college.
Mhm.
Now, in today's era, what would he have done? Transferred. He would have just, I'm going to go someplace where I can play.
Sure.
Started his senior year, had a great senior season, ended up getting drafted and playing the NBA.
Wow.
So 3 years of struggling
Sure.
challenges got him better, and he overcame it and then ended up playing the NBA. If he would have left and gone somewhere else, would he have become the player that he did there and played in the NBA? No one ever knows,
Right.
but it just goes to show that, like, sometimes transferring is the right thing to do.
Mhm.
But a lot of times, just looking for a different situation because you want what's better, or you want something different or better for your child, is not always the right response.
Absolutely. And I'd feel terrible if a child went through their youth sports career or experience, and never experienced a loss. If you're
Hmm.
constantly trying to get your kid on the best team,
Hmm.
going undefeated after undefeated season, what are you teaching them? There's no
Hmm.
value in that experience.
Hmm.
That child's going to be a nightmare to deal with the first time they come up against a challenge. So they need that building of confidence, having that struggle, being challenged, hopefully showing signs of determination to really be able to get over those hurdles sometimes too.
Hmm.
It's so helpful in the development of how they're going to be as an adult human being. So that's great advice. So please tell everybody the name of your YouTube channel and where they can
Yes.
find you.
Sports Parent Solutions is our YouTube channel, and we put up free videos on different topics. And then sportsparentsolutions.com is our website, where we also provide different services just to help families and help young people wherever they're at. If it's 6 years old, and just helping equip parents with how to train your young person, how to inspire them, give them basic fundamentals, all the way up to what travel team should we play on, how do we get a college scholarship, all those different things. We just try to unpack a lot of those, and really just trying to serve parents and help families, because a lot of times the mistake parents make is they do everything because they don't know what to do.
Right.
So we just try to, and every situation is different. There's not a cookie cutter
No.
path or strategy for everybody. It all depends on the things we've talked about. What does your child want out of it? How much, what level do they want to pursue it to? And then as a parent, you're just coming behind to support whatever it is that their goals and desires are.
Well, I can't thank you enough for spending time with us here today. We're so excited to be offering Brad Soucie basketball camp with Iron Sports at Coastal Christian High School. It's going to be 2 weeks of a lot of fun. I know the morning session will be more fundamentally based skills to work on. You have an opportunity to sign up for just mornings, just afternoons, which will be focused on shooting, or full day options. So a lot of different options for families out there looking to get their player some good basketball experience under the tutelage of Brad here. And we just really appreciate you spending time with us and having this conversation. And hopefully, it opens up parents to having those conversations with their kids and getting a better idea of what they're looking for out of their time in youth sports. And so it's just been really helpful. And go visit Brad's YouTube channel, his website, Sports Parent Solutions, right?
Yes.
I'm going to go back to that too. But thank you again.
Yes, thanks for
Really
having me.
appreciate it. And we'll talk soon. Maybe we'll do a part two.
Sounds good.
All right. Thanks. Yep.